Hey everyone, I hope and trust that you are doing well. So, I wanted to talk about what I deem what I call the first black person to syndrome. And on the screen here, lovely lady here for Dallas. It says the first black woman to serve as Dallas city manager, Kimberly Buzor Tolbert. I think that is wonderful. Congratulations. And as I understand, it is truly earned. She has worked her way up through the ranks. There is also a different aspect of what I consider the first black person to syndrome that I think that needs to be addressed. Okay. So I wanted to point this out because again, I think it's positive, good for her. She's worked her way up. But there's another aspect to this that we hardly discuss. And what I'm referring to is when you have other people in other positions, let's say other black people, it's not as if, oh my goodness, we're the first to qualify. No, we've always qualified. Come on. It's just that you were given that chance. However, you need to also consider the other factor. I think a lot of our people, we see this and we think, oh, great, which it is good, a great thing to see. Goodness positive, but there's also another aspect, I think, to the culture of the first black person too. See, we need to understand systems. Um, there was an issue happening again, not regarding the beautiful queen on the screen, not Miss Tolbert, but there was an issue happening in another city, smaller city, and it was like the people were in uproar, and it was a black person that was over it. Okay, again, just to clarify, not Miss Tolbert. And I thought about it, and I said, you need to understand there's a flip side because there are systems. You have to understand the system. And here's the downside. You need to understand when you have a system in place and you can put a person, that looks like me, a black person in that position, you need to understand it may not always be positive. Sometimes that person is there to uphold the system. So if the system is adverse against you, don't even get it twisted to think, well, they look like me, they're going to understand. There was a video on YouTube, man, and it's probably my history, maybe like a month ago. So, oh my gosh. Um, Black leaders of the council, people, personnel were all black, and people are saying they're trying to take our homes. You think? Are you surprised? There are systems. So when we have the first black person to syndrome, understand there are systems in place. You got to understand. And if that person is elected or part of that system, I'm sorry to tell you, they're going to uphold it. Even if it may be adverse to you. It's like, wow, it's all black people. It's like, do you understand who's behind the scenes? Who's pulling the strings? Who's telling them what to do? With regards to that, with the counselors and the people are saying, oh my goodness, it's like everybody's black. Counselor's black, the folks are black. Baby, it's somebody behind the scenes. So there are systems in place. So just because you may see a person that looks like you in a position, and especially if they're working for the system, don't even get it twisted to think, oh, okay, it's going to be some progress. Not necessarily, so it could be, but just don't get it twisted is all I can say. Why? Because they're there in that position for a reason. There are systems in place, and they are not going to tear down that system that put them there. Let's say it was a job that was just given. There are systems in place, and they are not going to tear down that system that put them in place. So sometimes we think, oh yeah, it's like we got a baddie in the White House. Yeah, okay. And what do we exactly get? I'm just going to be honest with most of these, and we all have our own interests. Do what's best for you. I understand women productive rights need to be preserved and saved. I totally get it, and I think that's why a lot of women voted or for Kamala. She was part of a black sorority. But just speaking in general, whenever you see a person, just because you see somebody that looks like you in their position, hey, for what? That town and with those counseling, they're all black. What's happening? Look at your black politicians. Please explain to me. Explain to me. Look at the black politicians. Of all the decades we've had of the black politicians, explain to me, where's the wealth creation? Where is the talk that says, hey, you know what? We need to get back to families. Where's the, hey, we need to get some jobs? Out of all the black politicians, from what I see, all I see is mainly poverty. Why is that? Again, understand there are systems. And because you see somebody that looks like you that's in a position of manager or what have you, guess what? Their job, that allegiance, believe it or not, is going to be to uphold that system. Look at what happened to Mayor of New York about those legal immigrants. He's holding it down, with the blue Biden administration and all that. He stepped out of line one time and spoke his mind. Boop, trouble began. He stepped out of line one time and what? Trouble began. Why is he there? The system? This is the same system that writes the check. So, because you see somebody that looks like you, oh my goodness. Because you see that? You see somebody that looks like you? Don't think they're there to fight the system. Don't think that they're there because, again, the system is designed a certain way and it's advantageous to others. It's more advantageous to some people. It really is. It's designed that way. That's my opinion. It is designed that way. So you see somebody that looks like you and you're thinking, oh yeah, now we got a chance. Now we're going to get something done. You may. I hope you do. Not knocking it. You just might. You may finally get something done. But keep in mind, that's a mistake a lot of our people make because we're going by symbolism and we see something positive. That's a mistake that sometimes we may think, we're going to go ahead and make some change. No, that system is there. The system is in place. Don't think somebody's going to pop up there and just, we're going to go ahead and change it. No. You may still face the same issues of inequity as you did before. And that's just facts. You may still face the inequities just like you did before. Why? There are systems in place. In that system, because you have a person that looks like you or what's considered, POC, a person of color, guess what? That system is not going to be torn down. No, that's just a person that they put in that position. Speaking in general. And we're like, all right, oh yeah, for what? They're not gonna. You think a person is like these companies? Oh, you've got a black manager, and good for you. But we know in our community that sometimes that can go right, that can go wrong. I've seen a black manager and had one in corporate America that you could look up. You can request a day off. It was a black man. You can request a day off. If Becky wanted that day off and it was so many people, guess what? He would automatically have your day off. Guess what? Removed and put theirs in. I had that in 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's been canceled. It's a black man in charge and big whoop. He's there for a reason. He's going to uphold the culture of that company. He's going to uphold that system and put them first and you last. So what good is having them? Okay, I've seen it. Where's a black woman in charge? Oh, black woman in charge, and she was just that unhappy person. Oh my gosh. She was that unhappy person. She was seeing a married man, and then he wanted her off and on. He never would leave. She was supporting 4 grown kids. She'd been abandoned by her man, didn't give a darn about her, and she was just that cold-hearted, self-hating, evil black woman. It was always drama. There were times something that happened, and with the building, and everybody had to leave, had to evacuate. They couldn't work. Okay, The top brass already said, hey, let the people off and they can use their sick time or vacation time. What do you think the black woman did? She was sitting up there in customer service, a manager, and guess what? For all the black people that want to use their vacation time, it's full of single baby mamas up in there. What do you think that clown did? That clown sat up there and denied it. They had to go over her head to the HR to say, did you not hear what the CEO said? People can use their vacation time and sick time to get paid for those 2 or 3 days off. Did you not hear that? Why couldn't she just do it? Evil, self-hating black woman. She want to see people. No, I'm not allowing that. It's not up to you. It's the CEO, fool. So the fact they had to even do that, it was like, this is crazy to me. But you got a black person in charge. So I think a lot of times, like I said, this here for this lady, good news. But just keep in mind, a lot of times we see this and we assume good news. That's not always the case. There are systems in place. So these individuals, sometimes you see a black person in charge and you're like, ooh, yay, hip hip hooray. Guess what? They are there to uphold that system, and they're going to uphold that system even to your adversity. They will do it. That system is the one that's paying. That system is the one that's saying. So sometimes, a lot of good things happen, and I think that's wonderful. But let's understand this. Don't even get it twisted. Do not get it twisted to automatically think because you see somebody like you that's in a position of power. Oh wow, this is gonna really be something great. It's just not always the case. Sorry to tell you, not always the case. Those individuals are there to uphold that system, and they're not going to go against the grain. Again, the system holds the power, it holds the paycheck. They're not going to go against the grain. And then you have some that'll fight for you, and I think that's great. But overall, just because you see that, don't always assume it. Like I said, that small town, I said, look at this here. The council, everybody's black, and the constituents are black. And yet they're trying to take your homes. Why? Because it's somebody else that's running the show. They're just a little puppet masters. And so then you can't hide racism. The system is very clever. You can't hide racism. You can't holler that, no, because everybody's black. But it's somebody else that's beyond that. So there are systems in place. And that's why when I see all the, oh, let's go, a big surprise. Guess what? This is the first black person too. It doesn't really sway me. You know what I mean? Because again, that's because that person is there. I don't know if they're going to be there for the people, or if they are there just to go ahead and keep the current system in place and to say, hey, we got this person that's going to deliver the bad news. You understand what I'm saying? Like I said before, there was a major issue. There was like some major wrongdoing. And it was like, what in the world is going on with this wrongdoing? And guess what happened? All of a sudden, the people were being cheated. They were all minorities, black people are being cheated. What the heck you think happened? First, at the company spokesman, a white man comes out. The next thing you know, oh, they've already appointed somebody else. And what was it? Here comes a black woman. What is she there for? Because she's there to go ahead and try to see if you're going to pick up what they're putting down, which is a whole bunch of BS. She was the go between. Why? They're giving her, she's not making the decision. No, they're giving her the information. She is not making the decision. They're giving her the information of, hey, you're going to be the one to break it down to them. So maybe you can kind of calm it down. But it was crazy. People were doing wrong. They were being done wrong in a company like super big time. But who did they put out front? First, it was a white man to address it. Then the news came out there, and it was a crowd of people. And boop, 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 here comes a black woman popping up. It's all by design. They're not going to change what's happening. But this right here, we're going to go ahead and hire her for PR purposes, and she'll explain it to you. And so then she gets out here and, okay, everybody, I need you to calm down. Here's what we're trying to do. I don't want to hear what you're trying to do. I want to hear what you're going to do. You see, because trying, listen to the words, the word choice. Trying, either going, it's like going to say, hey, I'm going to try and pick you up today, give you a ride to that appointment at 3:00. Well, you're going to try, either yes or no, you're going to do it or not. What's going on? So even that right there, I'm like, it's just smoke and mirrors. So keep in mind, don't always go for and the first black person to do this, and we're like, yay. It depends on what is going on. Again, there are systems in place. And a lot of times we get so caught up in the symbolism. We're so emotional. We're like, yeah. No. that person is there. It can be your judge, your police officer. I know a lawyer, and basically her client was in a crime, and here's what was happening. She said one of the main things that they will do is, guess what, let's say, and it was a black man as the client. He's like, hey, the two cops that were on the stand, you know what, those are not the ones that arrested me. They're not the ones that arrested me. So guess what had happened? Turns out what had happened was the two cops that arrested him were two white cops, okay, that arrested him. So what happened? I was told that, hey, you know what happens quite a bit in cases like that? They'll go ahead and the white cop may tell the black cop, you know, hey, here's what happens, and then the black cop gets on the stand and repeats it. Why? There is a system in place. A system in place. So could you see somebody that looks like you, may have the same hue? That's great for them to get that position, but understand there are systems in place, and we get so caught up in it. Look at Mayor Johnson. Look at Mayor. Do you think he cares about the citizens of Chicago? I think not. I think not, that he does not care about them at all. That's just my opinion. But yet there he's there. What is he doing though? Protecting, in my opinion, he's protecting the system that is in place, and it is not to elevate or to the betterment of the people of Chicago, the black people in that community. It is not, in my opinion. Why? It is the system, and they voted for him. But guess what? Even though they did that, there's still a system in place, and he is going to abide by it. He has fought more for the illegal immigrants than he has for his own community. And look now, doesn't want the National Guard, so let the people just go ahead and just perish and die, keep on getting killed again. There's a system in place, and I think he's holding it down. So don't always be so emotional. Oh, it's a black person in charge. Oh my gosh, yay. Oh, we got a baddie. We got a brother. Do you really? You might just have a black person in charge that's going to do one thing, and that's the only job: uphold the system. And I'm out. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you feel about it.